Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I actually, when we went on our trip, I watched this on the plane, and this is the second time I watched it. So I was actually it was very entertaining. I
I
mean,
think this is the second time I've watched it too. I don't think I've watched it in between the theater and now.
yeah, I mean, I think at this point, these Marvel movies are starting to kind of seem to not samey, but they're starting to kind of I guess it's starting to kind of seem this. Maybe they are getting a little samey. I guess it was pretty easy to watch this movie and understand that it was a Marvel movie and understand what they were trying to do.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not sure.
It was very weird to me. Like the very beginning,
Yeah, that's the best
I
part.
really had no idea what was going on at the very beginning. We can get into that a little bit later,
Mm.
but because I mean, of course, you figure it out somewhat as you watch the movie, but when it started out, I was like, I have no idea what's going on here.
The magic stuff or him being a doctor stuff?
When the villains invade
Oh, the
Kamar-Taj.
very, very beginning. Oh,
Yeah,
the opener. Oh, okay.
yeah,
All right. Oh,
yeah. I was
yeah,
like, I don't.
yeah. You have no idea what's going on. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, that's completely disconnected from the rest of the MCU at this point.
I wish it was more disconnected, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's what I was looking for.
I
Okay.
mean, this movie is fairly disconnected. It's almost like how Edgar Wright wanted Ant-Man to be. There's no other superheroes in here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. Well, it does have some setup because of the eye of I mean not the eye the if the time stone, but we'll talk more about that.
Yeah, there's one line in the movie about that.
Yeah. They did
But
mention
yeah,
the
it's
Avengers.
pretty standalone movie.
They did say something about the Avengers a little bit, but not much.
Yeah, there's a shot in the background at the very beginning where you can see Tony Stark's Avengers building.
You know, there is a small Easter egg in this, really tiny before you get started. So
Okay.
Doctor Strange is driving his Lamborghini, and he's on a phone call asking if there's any kind of new surgeries he could do. And
Hmm.
in the first one, someone says there is a Air Force pilot that was hurt in an experimental exosuit
Yeah,
accident.
my son made me pause the movie at this point because he thinks he knows who that was.
Yeah, it was Rhodey from the Civil War.
Okay, he was thinking that it was the guy in one of the early Iron Man movies or the hammer suit,
Yeah, but yeah,
where the hammer suit like twists too
yeah,
far.
yeah,
Yeah.
that could have been it, but the time is a little bit off. The timing's a bit off. I mean, we don't know what time Doctor Strange is taking place. It could have been what your son talked about, but I'm thinking it was Rhodey getting hurt. It made a little bit more sense to me. But it could have been the pilot. It depends on what time the
Yeah, they
movie
said
takes place.
experimental suit. I guess you could call Rhodey's suit experimental at that point.
Yeah, you know that's a good point. Time frame wise, if that Easter egg was for Iron Man 2, then Doctor Strange has been around for a long time. And to be honest with you, going back to Captain America Winter Soldier, they do name drop Doctor Strange, which suggests that he is the Sorcerer
Hmm.
Supreme for a while. So I think your son's more right than me. I think
Yeah,
your son's correct. Yeah.
yeah. It does seem like this movie chronologically is earlier than it's coming up in the order of the MCU
Yeah,
movies.
give your son a shout out, man. Because if that's true, then that gives Doctor Strange enough time to not only find Kamar-Taj, but actually become the Sorcerer Supreme, and then grow as as a master and get more skills. So I think your son's more right than me. That's very
Right.
good.
Yeah,
That's a great.
that's good.
He
Yeah.
should be on the podcast.
Maybe I'll bring him along sometime.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that's a good Easter egg. All right. So let's just start off with you telling us about Doctor Stephen Strange.
There is so much and also so little to talk about Doctor Strange. I didn't really follow him much when I was
Hmm.
reading comics. I knew he existed. The key thing about Doctor Strange that I like is if from the movie, he was an arrogant um, surgeon, but really skilled, and he gets his hands hurt in a car accident. That's 100% accurate from the comics. That happens.
Was it a Lamborghini?
No, it was not a Lamborghini. It was some sports car back in 1963.
Okay.
um,
Could have been a Lamborghini Miura or something like that.
well,
But so it was a It was a generic sports car, though.
Yeah, was a Lamborghini back in 1963?
I think so. Pretty sure, yeah.
Hmm. But then he finds the Ancient One, and he gets the skills to be Doctor Strange. So that's 100% accurate.
Okay.
But
Did
what?
he also have like a collection of watches in the
No, I
comics?
don't think
No.
so. Mm-mm. I love those watches. I love watches. So I
What
was
What were they? Did you recognize them? I
no
didn't.
super expensive.
Yeah, they're
Those
extremely expensive.
each one he's had is like a couple, like probably $1,000 a piece, maybe more. Those are really nice watches.
Right. Yeah, I figure that's a bit of foreshadowing to the time
Yeah,
magic in the latter half of the movie.
yeah, 100%. Um, but so what was I saying? So, but Doctor Strange. The cool thing about Doctor Strange is that he has had his own comic series for a while, but I like it when he mingles with other superheroes. Like he's a big part of the Infinity Gauntlet series. He's a big part of that. He was a
Hmm.
big part of Civil War and Planet Hulk and a couple other good storylines. But he's always been this character who's like dabbled in darkness. So if you watch the movie, there's a scene with the Ancient One where they all find out that she is absorbing or using dark magic from the dark
Hmm.
dimension to keep her alive. That's
Yeah.
something that Doctor Strange continuously dabbles in or touches on, but never really goes too deep in. Like it's always like a threat to him. It's like, hey, I need to do this to be more powerful. Hey, I need to do this to be more powerful. But he never does it much until
Hmm.
recently. I think the last 10 years, he's really dabbled in. Like there was as a something he does where the Hulk crushes his hands and he has to dive really deep into dark magic. He actually makes a deal with Dormammu to get way more power, but it kind of freaks him out. It's too much for him to handle. And the last thing is he's like I think he's scheduled to die. Like the last time when I did some research, I think that in the Marvel comic universe right now he's going to die at some point.
All
Uh,
right. Pause on that for a second.
yeah.
What do you mean scheduled to die?
So
This has got to be a comic books thing.
yeah, it's a comic book thing. Like he says how he's going to do something that's going to kill him. I think, or he's just like at the point of his life where it's like his time's over. That happens sometimes, and he just kind of goes away for a while. So that's going to happen soon. But like the thing with Doctor Strange in the comics is, especially with like if you look at like Iron Man for example, we can get our heads around like a guy putting on a metal suit because we touch metal. Like you
Hmm.
have an iPhone, you have technology, you have lamps, you have TVs. You can wrap your head around the idea that a guy is smart enough to wrap all this stuff together and make a suit or a cap or you understand that if you jog for a long time, you get stronger, and so you can understand that Captain America could exist, and you understand
Yeah.
that the Hulk, you can understand that. But when it comes to magic, you can't really put your hands around it because no one really does it. And I shouldn't say really does it. I say no one does it. So it's like
Hmm.
so a lot of the rules and stuff in Doctor Strange, they kind of make them up. Like it's magic, so you don't really have to have a solid grasp around it. And so I don't really think like for me, Doctor Strange has never been one of my favorite characters, and I'm really impressed that for the cinematic universe, I like Cumberbatch. I think he did a great job with it, and I think that Doctor Strange fits more in the cinematic universe than the comics. And I would say this is a very controversial take. The movie, I think, is better than the comics. I think that they pulled it off far more efficiently than the comics would. And I know that people might
Hmm.
get mad about that, but I enjoy them. Of all the comic movies that we've talked about and all the properties, I think Doctor Strange is the one that best fits on the silver screen. I know it's weird,
Interesting.
but that's how I feel.
Even more so than Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, much more, 100%. Because with Guardians of the Galaxy, it's like I keep thinking about what they took away and what they lost. But with Doctor
Gotcha.
Strange, they just took this great idea and this great character. There is some controversial stuff we'll talk about, I'm sure, in a second.
Okay.
But they took this stuff and they smashed it down to the core essence, and
Gotcha.
that's what we're
Yeah.
watching. And I think that's good. I mean, it's super difficult to understand Doctor Strange unless you like watch this movie. Like the comics is just so all over the place.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Good background. Um, In the movie at the beginning, when he's a doctor, there's Christine Palmer, who's pretty significant throughout the movie.
Hmm.
Is she just in the movie, or does she come from the comics as well?
She's just in the movie.
Okay.
She's a creation of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Another person who's just in the movie is the crippled guy. What's his name?
Mm.
I have him here. I just wrote it down. I just put it in here last night while I was doing show notes. I can't find him now.
Oh, Benjamin Bratt playing
Yeah.
Jonathan
What? I
Pangborn.
wrote it down. Anyway, yeah, he's not in the comics either.
Okay.
Which is odd because there is a female character called Cecil that is very prominent in Doctor Strange. Prominent enough for me to know, even though I don't read a lot of Doctor Strange comics. And
Hmm.
she's not in this for some odd reason. I don't know why. But yeah, like Rachel McAdams, they just made that character just for Rachel McAdams. Which is like I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
almost didn't even ask you about her. So that's why I was thinking she probably doesn't come from the comics. She's not very fleshed out in this movie.
yeah, it's like very like we don't really see like the love interest stuff much in these movies, but we do here, and I wonder why. Like it's like people make choices in movies. It's like we don't like okay, so what? So the Spider-Man movies, Iron Man movies, maybe a little bit of Captain America movies. I guess there are more love interests than I thought. There are actually quite a bit. Never mind.
First Thor movie.
Yeah, okay, that's enough to that's enough. But yeah, there's a lot of them. Um, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But it doesn't really fit here. Like he doesn't. They don't get together at the ends, And there's like, I mean, maybe it's like he was a jerk to her. He treated her, he mistreated her pretty badly. So maybe it's
Yeah.
supposed to be help us understand that. I kind of feel like it's a waste of Rachel McAdams. Well, she'll never be in a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie again, unless it's another Doctor Strange. So
I was reading the IMDb trivia for this movie, and it says, again, I have no idea how accurate any of this stuff is because it's just people on the internet putting trivia in.
mhm.
But it said that she was the first picked for Pepper Potts in Iron Man, and she turned it down.
She would have been a great Pepper Potts.
Yeah. So
It's hard to see her as Pepper Potts though. She's kind of short, but I mean Pepper Potts could be short. Yeah, man, or really as Pepper Potts.
it said she later got interested. Yeah, I mean, because this whole MCU thing started out.
Yeah, nobody knew it was gonna work.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
God, Rachel McAdams as Pepper Potts. I guess it could work. I'm
Yeah.
thinking. I like what's her face better for it. What's her
Gwyneth
name?
Paltrow.
Yeah, I like her better for it. I don't
Yeah,
know
she's a
why.
good Pepper Potts. I don't know the character from the comics, but Gwyneth Paltrow's a good Pepper Potts.
Rachel McAdams would be a really good. She would have been a really good Carter character. She would have been a
Um,
great Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter. Yeah,
She would have been
okay.
a great Sharon Carter.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see
Because
that.
what's her face is a terrible Sharon Carter. Anyway, keep going. Let's keep going.
All right. So I really like when we talk about these fictional places that are only from the comics, and I'm hoping this one's pretty good. But there's Kamar-Taj
It
in this
is
movie.
it is only in Marvel. It is a comic place. There's not much to say
Okay.
about it though.
Now, is there anything to say about it?
um, not really. It's just like I didn't know about it until I watched the movie and did some more work. But no one really does. It has some connections to Asgard a little bit. I think a character from Asgard goes there to deal with some stuff.
Hmm.
But no,
I could
not
see that.
yeah, but not really. It's just like a magic place basically. The biggest thing is that it's where Doctor Strange goes to learn magic. But
In the
here,
movie, I think that's a stand-in for like either Tibet or Nepal or something like that.
yeah, I mean, so when you're doing fiction, you have two choices. You can use a real place or you can make a fake place, and there's
Right.
benefits for both. The benefits for using a real place is that people can understand it. They can look at a map. It has accuracy. But if you've never been there, you might get details wrong. If you have a fake place, then you can do whatever you want. You can make it all up, but the downside is it's not real, and people might not connect to it. And so I think Marvel likes to make Marvel likes to use some fake places, but also have people more moored in the real world. DC loves fake places like Metropolis, Gotham City. Those
Oh
aren't real
yeah,
places.
right.
So
Yeah.
it's just a mixture. I mean, they could have
In the comics, do they ever say like it's in Tibet or it's in Nepal?
they never say where it is, which is a classic. So that way you don't have to worry about it if you just
Ah,
say it's
okay.
somewhere out there. The cool one of the cool things is the book The Darkhold is from Kamar-Taj. You might recognize the Darkhold from One Division. It's the book that Agatha uses against Wanda, and it's the book that Wanda looks at the end of the movie. I mean, at the end of the
Uh,
series.
do you think that was in the library during this movie?
Maybe I thought that we would see the Darkhold, but I don't think it was in the library. But it is a myth. But the magic stuff that was used in Doctor Strange is consistent with One Division.
Hmm.
Someone's definitely making sure that both that somebody made sure that One Division was doing the same thing Doctor Strange was doing, because at the end Wanda is using her astral form, which she must have learned how to project because no one taught her how to do that. So that was really cool. And so like whenever the new Doctor Strange movie comes out, it's going to make consistent sense. Like it's going to be these two things, like these two musicians, these two sorcerers are going to seem similar and work. And you know what? I already have a plot to Doctor Strange and the multiverse. I already think I know their plot, but I won't
Yeah,
ruin
we
it.
should do that as a bonus episode.
We can do it at the end of this. It's not that long, but
Okay,
I
okay, all
have an
right.
idea about what they're going to do. But anyway,
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we were just talking about Kamar-Taj. Let's talk about the Ancient One.
time for controversy.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you know
Tell
what
us about it.
Do you know?
Here's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard that in the comics, the Ancient One was a Tibetan monk, and Disney did not want to upset China. So instead of making a main character in the movie a Tibetan monk, they made it a white lady from, how they say what she is,
She's
Gaelic,
Celtic.
Celtic. Yeah,
I don't know if that's the reason that Marvel did this because of Tibet.
yeah. They're never going to come out and say it, but
Yeah,
that was the rumor I heard.
I don't know if I mean it could be a Tibetan thing. I doubt that. What I think that Marvel has a problem. When these characters were created back in the 60s, there was a tremendous amount of xenophobia and racism towards the Asian people. The idea that, I mean, there's a picture of the Ancient One here, and this is ridiculous. It's just, it's the same kind of
It's
like,
just kind of like the guy from the first Iron Man movie.
yes, 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 and it's a problem. Like you can't just do that anymore. I mean, it's stereotyping an entire race of people, and it's
Hmm.
like it's just not good. But you have multiple different fires that Marvel created and had to deal with. So here's the first fire. Like you have the Ancient One, whose real name is Yao, Yao. You have the Ancient One, who again, so how can I put it? Okay, I'm gonna put a couple different things on the table. Hopefully, I can do this very quickly. You have Iron
Okay.
Man, who when he's Iron Man, he goes to Vietnam, right? He like is kidnapped, and then he builds the suit, and then he like wins, and like Yao Fei, his friend is Asian, and he's really Asian in this one. And so you have the first instance of a white man going into Asian culture and like rescuing them or being a savior. This happens again with Iron Fist. Iron Fist is a young white boy who in an airplane accident lands in like a Asian place, gains the knowledge, but then comes back to the States. So again, that same thing happens, and you get the same thing with Doctor Strange. It's consistent. It's a consistent
Mm.
stereotype that Marvel used for quite a bit. And like at some point, someone should say, "Hey, how about stop this?" But nobody did, because like, to be honest with you, the idea that Doctor Strange had to travel to an ancient place to learn these Asian secrets, then comes back to the States. Like it could have been
Hmm.
more efficient from a storytelling angle. It's like an Asian person learns these things and doesn't go to the States. He's a sorcerer supreme in China. But instead
Hmm.
we had like Marvel back in the day in the 60s couldn't think that a brown person could be Sorcerer Supreme in New York. Like it's like why would he be in New York? Why would a brown person be in New York? Like in 1963, you can see their brains be like the only Sorcerer Supreme has to be a white person. That's how the world is. And like and in 1963 it made sense. Like it's like that was the reality. That's what the world. But it's
Mhm.
2020. It's 2019, 2017 when this movie's come out, whatever. So the world's different now, and Marvel's like, we can't. We have to fix. We have to fix the sins of our past. Like this
Yeah,
was.
so let's do that by having another white sorcerer supreme, but this time we'll put him in Asian.
That's a huge problem for them too, because then they say, okay, we can make the ancient one like different. We can get a great actress. Well, I think she's fantastic. What's her name?
Tilda Swinton.
I think she did a great job as the Ancient One. But here's the problem: then Marvel's doing the same thing they used to do. You know, so it's
Right.
like, so now it's like, well, how can we fix this? And so they have all this mess they made. They made a big mess in 1963, and they made a similar mess in when they made Doctor Strange in the present day. It's a nasty thing,
Yeah,
and
it seems like they could have easily just had a Asian actor or actress
yes,
play the role,
yes,
but don't play it in
yes.
a stereotypical way. That would have
Yes.
been the superior solution here.
Yes, it would have been the superior solution, and it would have been better. But also, Marvel wants more women on screen, you know, and that's just how
I mean, it could have been an Asian woman. Didn't
yeah,
have to be a
no,
man.
they could have definitely been an Asian woman.
Could
That
have
would
been Michelle Yao.
yeah, she's done
They could have used her
everything.
here. Well,
What,
she's in the MCU, but
she's in the MCU twice. Do you know that?
yeah,
She
uh, yeah. What was she in
she
recently?
was in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 at the end, and she's going to be in Shanghai and Shang-Chi.
Ah, that's it. That's it. Right.
So I don't know how they're going to fix that. But anyway, the point is, I agree with they could have gotten an Asian woman to be the ancient one, and it would have solved all these problems. It really would
Hmm.
have.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't. It would have fixed everything. But they didn't, so it's on them. They could have also gotten an Indian person to be the ancient one. They
Yeah.
could have done several different things to fix that. They just didn't fix it. And so,
Right.
and then it gets these like incel young boys in their mom's basement all mad. You know, it's like I like my ancient one to be a man. Like get first of all, have sex with someone, and then second of all, get out and go get a job. You know, like it's just like whenever this happens, it's like when a woman character replaces a male character, these guys get really upset, and I'm not really unsure why. But that was another thing that got people upset is that which is again odd. So it's pretty controversial. But if you look at Doctor Strange, the Ancient One, 1963's, it has the same racial mess. Marvel did the best they could to fix it. They did do an interesting change. Mordo,
Yeah.
he was Asian in the original comics, and he is a black man in this one. But it completely destroys the Mordo character from the comics, but it fixes that problem.
Mm. Was it a problem?
Not really. I mean, they needed more. They needed a black actor in the movie, so that's how they fixed that.
Uh, uh,
They
yeah, I
could.
guess.
I would have
I'm
liked.
looking at the
I would have liked Chiwetel. How you say it? Chiwetel.
man. I can't say his name.
Ejiofor. I would have liked him to be
Yeah.
the main villain. He would have done a better job as a villain because
I can see that.
he's a great villain. He's a fantastic villain.
There is another. I'm looking at top cast on IMDb. There's another black actor, but I don't remember him from the movie. Character's name is Daniel Drum.
He was a guy who protected the New York Sanctum. He got killed.
Oh, okay, yeah,
He wasn't in long enough to get a credit, but he got one. Congratulations.
yeah. He's in the top cast. So.
Yeah, Amy Lindecker, she's a big movie star. She does a lot of different roles. I'm surprised she does something so small.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We were talking about the Ancient One.
yeah, that's it.
So I guess you've told us pretty much all there is to tell us from the comics about the
Oh yeah,
Ancient One.
the Ancient One dies really early. So they premiere the Ancient One in Strange Tales number 110, 1963, and then he dies in 1973. So it's just like,
Okay. Is the Ancient One in the comics dabbling in the dark dimension?
nah, not really. Mm-mm.
Okay.
He's just a guy who teaches Doctor Strange his abilities. He does fight Dude. How do you say his name? Do-
Um, Dormammu.
Dormammu. He does fight Dormammu, yes, and
Yeah.
Dormammu's a big part of this. So I'll talk about that later. But
Okay.
no, the
Yeah, we'll
ancient.
hit on that.
Yeah, the ancient one is just the ancient one. Like he needs someone to teach Doctor Strange his abilities, and that's all he's for. So it's
So
like,
in the comics, the Ancient One teaches Doctor Strange, and then kind of dies off.
yeah, basically,
Serves their purpose.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so right after Strange meets the Ancient One, we get the Matrix scene or the trippy scene where Strange goes into the astral dimension.
hmm
Is there anything you can tell us about the astral dimension?
In the comics, in Marvel Comics, there's not many magical rules, but there is like a certain kind of theme, and one thing is called the astral plane.
Hmm.
An astral, and you're starting to see some more of this in the movies. You saw it first, you see it at first in Doctor Strange. You'll see it again later in One Division, and I think what movie will you see it astral plane? Some other places. And the idea is there's a there's a realm of
Does what
reality.
Loki does, is that considered
No,
working in the astral dimension? No?
no, but he probably understands it. He probably knows how to get there. But
Okay.
it's like you can separate if you can separate your soul from your body, that soul can then go to different places and do different things that your body can't do. And you
Okay.
can get to the astral dimension by going to that by separating your soul from the body. Then you can go to the astral dimension and do different things, experiment. Be in a different presence.
Or the Ancient One can do it for you.
Yeah, so the ancient one does that in Avengers Endgame. She separates the Hulk's soul from his body, which is interesting because when she does that, the Hulk's soul is in the form of Bruce Banner, which is a whole different thing we can talk about when we get to that movie.
Hmm.
Yeah, so the astral plane. So magicians aren't the only ones that can go to astral plane. Professor X can go there. Other people can go there as well. It's like it's not just a magical thing. It's like a thing that anybody who's very strong in the astral abilities, like psychic abilities, can do that. So that's
Professor X is the guy from the X-Men,
X Men. I'm
right?
sorry. Oh yes, I would assume. I don't know why, but I assume our listeners know. But yeah, Professor X is from the X Men.
There are some people that just watch Marvel movies. They probably haven't seen any of those X-Men movies.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess that's
I know
true.
I haven't seen any of the recent X-Men movies. I dropped off of X-Men a while ago.
Yeah, we could probably watch a couple of them. They're pretty bad.
Yeah, I figure we can put those at the end of our list or something
Yeah,
like that.
way at the end. That's way more other stuff. There's other stuff that we can watch and talk about before this, before
Right.
them. But yeah, the astral plane is pretty consistent, and I like the fact it was a core part of the story. It works out. It's a very Doctor Strange thing to do is to go to the astral plane.
Yeah, there's some astral fights going on.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. That's my
Um,
favorite
I,
part, probably.
which one?
Just like the part where he shows him everything about the magic universe, and then that fight where he's like not only fighting physically but in the astral plane as well. That was really good.
Okay, yeah. I figure this is probably a good time to also talk about this. This movie is very dimension heavy.
Yes,
I count three. There's the astral dimension,
the dark dimension.
mirror dimension, and dark dimension.
Yeah,
What can you tell us about those other two?
I can't tell you much about the mirror dimension. The dark dimension is where Dormammu is from. That's a real thing.
Hmm.
But there's in the Marvel comics there are many different dimensions, tons of dimensions. And I think the way they explain them is
They
dimensions.
all have name, or do a lot of them have names like this?
Yeah, a lot of them have names. So the negative zone is a dimension. The null universe NULL is a dimension. So there's lots of
Hmm.
different dimensions in the Marvel universe, and that way you can just make a dimension up, and then people can just come through there and have fun. So it's like it's just basically if you look at the multiverse, like
Yeah,
a separate universe is a dimension. And so to be honest with you, going back to
lots of talk about the multiverse in this movie.
yeah, if you go back to Loki and the Loki series, which by the way is I feel like I miss that show a lot. You ever miss a TV show? Um,
Hmm.
I miss talking about it. I miss watching it. But what the TVA are going to be working it with is like the same kind of deal. Is like potentially the TVA would be like the dark dimension. They would have to figure that out and deal with that. And
Hmm.
so, like, not even though Doctor Strange isn't time traveling necessarily, he is dealing with multiple dimensions, in the multiverse. So there is some overlap. So there could be there's some potential interesting connections between the Loki series, Doctor Strange, One Division. It's all going to kind of mesh together at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. Clearly. All right. Do you think the mirror dimension was just made up for the movie to have that really cool effect?
I think it was made up. I don't know. I'm going to quickly figure out if it was made up or not because it could have been. Hang on,
How much
listeners.
does this movie remind you of Inception?
Nah, a little bit. It's
Just
yeah.
the effects. The
The
effects.
effects definitely a lot. They're
Yeah.
pretty cool. The mirror dimension was only made in the movies. So if you ever do if for our listeners and you as well, Mike, if you ever do a Google search and it's called if something's called Earth 199999, then that is the cinematic universe. So that's the technical
Mhm.
term for the cinematic universe. It was definitely just created for the movies.
The
Um,
mirror dimension exists so they can do that really cool effect, and so they can say everything that happens in the mirror dimension doesn't affect the real world.
yeah,
So
that's totally a fake thing that they made up. Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, yeah, so it's hard. Like this movie wouldn't have been made. The effects wouldn't have been done without Inception. They definitely stole that, which is pain in the butt, but also cool. It looks really neat. But I think Inception does a better job with it. It's a little cleaner, but it's a lot of fun to watch. It's a lot of fun to look at. Like those
It's
special.
more of a in this movie, it's not just like bending the worlds like it is in Exception. In this movie, it's also like fractalizing everything, making it look like those patterns you see in Tibet and like
Yeah,
all that art.
it's just trippy. Like imagine taking like a pot brownie or doing
It's
some
like a
kind of
mandala. Is
yeah
it meant? Yeah, something like
doing
that.
some kind of illicit drug and then watching this movie, you probably just like have to take a nap. It's just oh my goodness. But the special effects is amazing here. Like they're physically running, but then they're like moving in different directions, different angles. It's pretty
Hmm.
cool. It's like I wish we saw more of this magic stuff. It's like a lot of the magic stuff was like interrupted by fight scenes and like I'm going to physically hit you with the magic wand and stuff like that. And I wish they would have done. I wish they would have spent more. I mean, the special effects are pretty expensive, but I wish they would have spent more time actually doing more magic, like fight stuff. But we don't really see that much.
Speaking of magic fight stuff, in the comics, is it all visible like it is in this movie, where you get those circles on your hands and wrapping around your arms and all of that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So I think it's just a way for people to visualize something they can't see. Like you won't be able to ever see magic if you're doing it, but in the
Hmm.
comics, you have to like make it or visualize it so people can see it and the key thing is it looks cool, so it has to look cool. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely like the kind of stuff you saw Doctor Strange doing with his hands and stuff like that is definitely in the comics 100%. Which I mean, it's fine what it is. It's like sometimes I like when I'm looking at this kind of stuff, I'm like, you don't need your hands. I mean, even in the movie, they say it's not your hands. Like, well, if it's not my
Yeah.
hands, then why do I keep using them? It's like so. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, all those special effects stuff is definitely from the comics.
Okay. I think I've got another Easter egg for
Yeah,
you. Do you think you know what it is?
no,
It's the Wi-Fi password to what's the place's name?
yeah.
Kamar-Taj?
What was it?
Shambhala.
Spell it for me.
Uh, I think it's Shamballa.
Okay. What is
I
that?
figured that has to be like something that Doctor Strange says a lot in the comics.
It's a song by Three Dog Night.
Okay.
Wash away my
I
troubles.
thought that was you know how sometimes Marvel and DC will riff on each other?
Yeah,
I figured that Shambhala was Marvel's version of Shazam.
definitely not.
Okay. Well, that's very strange that they put that in there. Then I think
Well, if you look at it,
if there's no if that's not an Easter egg for the
it's
comics,
a Three
then
Dog Night song.
okay.
That could be it.
Strange thing to put into the movie if that's the only
I kind of
connection.
want to play this, but I'm not going to. But no, that's
Maybe I can do like a 10-second drop
you
in the
should.
in here. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, right. So right now we're going to play Shambhala.
Wash away my sorrow, wash away my shame with the rain, Shambhala.
And there you go. So no, it has nothing to do with anything.
Okay. All right.
Close though. Keep
I
keep,
mean that.
keep looking for him.
All right. Sling rings.
Yes.
Is that what they called them?
Yes, only in the movies.
Okay. Yep. Sounded weird.
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff
And you can't do your magic if you lose your sling ring.
yeah, that's ridiculous. It's just like there's nothing like that in the comics. In the comics, you have to understand the comics. They just make it up, man. Like different writers and different artists are going to use different magic all the time. You don't get used to anything. They're going to change it all up. It's not going to make sense. Who cares? But in the movies, they spend a lot of time connecting magic to physical items like sling rings. They talked about the staff of the Living Tribunal, which isn't a thing. The boots. Like
what about the cape?
the cape is a thing, 100%. Yes.
Is
the
it
cape,
like almost sentient in the comics like it is in the movie? Okay.
Yes. It doesn't do the crazy stuff like we see in the movies, but it does.
Doesn't wipe away tears in the comics.
No, but it does elevate. It does do that. And also, we'll get to the Eye of Agamotto in a little bit.
That was my next thing.
We actually get to it now. So in the comics, the Eye of Agamotto just reveals truth and reveals light. It does not hold the time gem. But in the movies, they needed to bring the time gem into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and so it's in the Eye of Agamotto. So in the comics, it's just around its neck. It does a couple different cool things, but it's never like that powerful. And in the movie, it's definitely just totally different.
In the later movies, it seems like he's wearing is it the time gem?
Yeah, in the Infinity War, he's wearing it the whole time,
but it's like it's not in the amulet anymore.
Well, so what happens in Infinity War is that it's in the amulet, but at a certain place, he takes it out of the amulet, and then Thanos grabs the amulet and crushes it, and then he forces Doctor Strange to reveal what the stone is.
I thought it was in like a different shaped thing in the later movies, but
It's in there. Yeah,
Okay.
he only uses it. He doesn't use it in the other movies either. He only uses it. The only time he uses it is in this movie. He tries to use it a little bit in Infinity War, but then he doesn't use it anymore.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the villains in this one. We've got Kaecilius and Dormammu. Is Kaecilius real? Is he?
He is, but
character?
he is a footnote, man. He is a very small time character in the comics, like tiny, no big deal. I would have tripped over if I didn't see him. Barely there, like a blink. He came around 1965. But
did he do anything like this? Like
no, he does.
Was he a zealot for Dormammu?
He does. So at some point, Mordo is trying to get connections to Dormammu, and he uses Kaecilius to get powers from Dormammu. But that's it. That's the only thing. It's like he's more of a henchman than anything else.
Okay.
But it's interesting how Marvel does that. They'll take a very small character, amplify them up, and that way, if he does die, nobody cares. But the actor is so good, like just using him, Mads Mikkelsen, he's so good, and have him be a one-time villain that dies off. It seems like
I think you gotta do that for actors that would like to be in Marvel movies, but don't want to be chained to Marvel movies.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, and Marvel has the money issue. They can't pay all these guys all this money all the time, so they do have that to deal with. So yeah, I mean, it's a reasonable thing.
Yeah,
Dormammu's a huge character in the Marvel universe. Not huge, but
in this movie, Dormammu sounds a lot like Alioth from The Void. Like his reason for being seems Are they connected? Are they?
Nope.
No, they just kind of do the same sort of thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like
and have a similar appearance.
Yeah, they're very similar. But no, it's like Dormammu's look in the comics he looks completely different than he does in the movies. He has a more of a physical form. It's like a match head kind of deal. So it's a little different. But I
Okay.
like what they did in the movies. I like the way he looked. I liked
Yeah.
everything about Dormammu. I think they did a great job with him.
Yeah, it's pretty
Um,
good. All those weird floating
yeah,
orbs
I
and
mean,
all that.
like, yeah. If you go to a dark dimension and deal with a god who doesn't understand time, who's like infinitely old, then like, yeah, it's all gonna look really strange. Like I don't want to be there, Like it's like so it's kind of cool how they pull that off. But yeah, Dumamu is has a whole bunch of stuff about him, but he has a sibling called Umar, which I don't know much about, but Dormammu's been a thorn in Doctor Strange's side for quite a while, so there's a lot going on with him. But he does reside in the Dark Dimension, and his one goal is to conquer Earth. So and Doctor Strange stops him. So it is pretty. There's a lot of cool things with that. They did a really good job with that.
Okay. Yeah, the one thing I didn't get about this movie is why Kaecilius would be infatuated with Dormammu. I mean, I guess he's after um, immortality, and he thinks he can get that
Well,
by
it
working
could be
for
a couple different
Dormammu.
things. It could be a couple different things. Dormammu might be influencing him. Like, so Caseless has been experimenting with the dark energy that comes from the dark dimension that Dormammu is in control of, right?
Hmm.
And so the idea in the movies is like the more you play with this magic, the more you don't know if you are in control of your acts or if other people are. Makes sense? And so,
Yeah.
like, my thinking is that he slowly fell into the influence of Dormammu and was being influenced by him. Not he wasn't of his own will, even though he thought it was his own will. It wasn't. So that's my take on it.
You might be right. I mean, that's why they're all of their eyes are looks like they're rotting from the inside.
Yeah, and that's why when it was revealed that the Ancient One used the Dark Dimension to stay alive longer, they got really upset because who knows if she is influenced, So that was one of the things that I think that's what upset them.
Ah, okay. Interesting. That helps out a lot, I think. The whole influence over these people by Dormammu, I think,
Hmm.
helps out with my big question mark from this movie.
Yeah, keep it going, man. Game more.
I think I'm tapped out. We do have two. We have a mid credits and an end credit scene. Is there anything you want to tell us about though before we get to those?
What was the mid credit?
Is there anything else you want to tell us about before we get to those?
Yeah, okay.
I'll tell you what the mid credit is when we get there.
I watched it. I didn't see it. Wong is another problem for them. An Asian servant. That's what he is to Doctor Strange. So as I like,
in the comics, he's a
yeah,
servant to Doctor Strange.
He's just a servant.
What
Yeah.
was he in Kamar-Taj, or was he just a servant to Doctor Strange in New York?
He met Doctor Strange in Kamar-Taj, and then he traveled with Doctor Strange to New York when Doctor Strange moved back to New York to be the Sorcerer Supreme there, because you have to be the Sorcerer Supreme in New York.
And then he's got this like amazing magician who is his servant, basically.
No, in the comics, Wong is not an amazing musician. He's just a regular. He has some
Regular
powers,
guy.
but a regular guy. I like what they did in the movies way better. I like the acting. I like that they're equals. That's way better. They did a much better job with Wong in the movies. Like Wong being their equal is good. He's just not like some kind of slave, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's much better. I like that a lot. I just noticed this. Do you know the actor that plays Wong?
Yeah, I recognize him. Where's he from?
I don't really know. I do recognize him, but his name is Benedict Wong.
Yeah, so you got Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange and Benedict Wong as Wong, which is cool. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
and Wong will be in Shang-Chi.
Oh,
that is confirmed. He's going to be in that in some way.
Yeah, I remember him from the Infinity War.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool to see him in Shang-Chi.
I'm not sure how he's going to be in Shang-Chi, but he's going to be in Shang-Chi. Which is coming out soon, man. Like September something, 1st.
Is it? They haven't pushed it back?
No, and it's only in theaters, so we will have to go to a theater and watch it.
They're going to change their minds about that.
Probably. Do they have enough time to do it? To change their mind and put it on
I mean,
Disney
they could
Plus?
do that the day before if they wanted to.
I'm curious. Yeah, they make a lot of money on Disney Plus, so we'll have to wait and see. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, situations are constantly evolving.
Delta, and then we
The
got
fact that, yeah,
we got Lambo.
Delta Plus now.
We got Lambo. What's it called? Lambda? Some kind
There's
of crap
Lambda
coming
and
in?
there's Delta Plus. Yeah.
They're just making up stuff at this point.
Well, I mean, it's evolving, man. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated.
I'm vaccinated.
Wear a mask. I think you've started doing that more, right?
What?
Wearing a mask.
I'll wear one with our city has a mask ordinance, so you have to.
Oh yeah, okay.
Our city's also the bars and restaurants around town are also starting to create vaccine mandates themselves.
Yeah,
So,
I'm also vaccinated, but I never stopped wearing a mask whenever I went inside.
yeah, man, I live in an apartment complex, so it gets old. If y'all want to check the mail, but I have to put a mask on. That just gets old after a while. But that's just me.
I
Anyway,
can see that, but like going to the grocery store or whatever.
yeah, I'll keep wearing that.
All right.
That's
So anything
all.
else before we hit the credit stuff?
Do you remember the character Hamir with the one arm? He has
yeah.
one hand.
Yep.
He is from the comics. He is actually, I think, if I'm not wrong, he's like Wong and Hamir are related in the comics.
Yeah, in the movie, he was just really a way to convince Doctor Strange that his broken hands aren't a problem.
Oh, Nicodemus West, the kind of grumpy doctor that Doctor Strange didn't like.
Yeah.
He's also from the comics, which is odd.
Hmm.
And last but not least, this would be a nice little Easter egg for people. Guess who was the Sorcerer Supreme for a short amount of time, like 4 comics?
Wanda.
Loki.
Okay. Loki was in charge of defending Earth from mystical forces.
Which is odd, right? Yeah, but it was Loki's the Sorcerer Supreme. It's only for a little while. It's not long. It was just kind of a cool way to Loki is very popular in the MCU, so Marvel has to put him in the comics as much as he can. That's all they did with that.
Oh, is that another like late addition to the comics?
Yeah, 2017. So very.
Oh
very
wow!
late.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. That's all I got. So, what was the mid-credit scene?
All right. So the mid-credit scene is that Doctor Strange is talking to Thor about helping them find Odin, so that they can get Loki off of Earth.
Okay, I skipped through that. I must have missed that because at the end of the movie, I knew there was an end credit scene, so I flipped through it. But that scene is going to be in Thor Ragnarok.
Okay, so they just lifted it.
Yeah, they just took it, and I'm pretty sure that Thor Ragnarok, that scene from Thor Ragnarok, was made before Doctor Strange. So it's like they actually had to make that before they filmed Doctor Strange.
Okay,
I think.
I thought it was a strange mid-credit scene.
They were just getting people ready for Thor.
Okay. The end credit scene is where we've got Mordo again. Mm-hmm. Mordo is played by Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Yes, he did a good job.
And he finds the guy that we forgot about earlier, Benjamin Bratt, playing Jonathan Pangborn. Mm-hmm. In a workshop, and Mordo says to Benjamin, or Jonathan, I guess, there's too many sorcerers.
Yep.
What do you take on this whole scene?
My take was it was just amping up for Doctor Strange 2 or the sequel. In the comics, he doesn't do that at all.
Is Mordo going to be in the sequel?
That's a great question. I don't know. I guarantee you that the actor
has he been in anything else?
No. The actor has a contract that says that he's supposed to be probably in 3 movies, so he's going to have to be in something. I guarantee, unless they broke the contract with them, which could have happened. Wonder. So
or
the
he
next,
broke it with them.
Yeah, the next one is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse. That's going to happen. It's going to have It's going to have Wanda in it. Wanda Maximoff is going to be in it, and it's going to. And this is my theory. And please, like, everybody, hold me accountable. My theory is that Wanda is going to meet Doctor Strange, or find Doctor Strange, and ask him to help her find her children. That's probably what's going to happen with the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse. He's going to try to find where her kids are. Because if you're looking at a multiverse, there's going to be a universe somewhere where those kids exist. And there's a whole storyline where those only reason those kids were even born is to be used as weapons, and so like that's going to be a whole different thing. And Doctor Strange and the Multiverse is going to tie into the Loki stuff that we've seen. It's going to tie into WandaVision. It's all going to loop into each other, so it's going to be pretty fun when that movie comes out. That's going to be a big movie for Marvel. That's going to be kind of an important movie for Marvel as far as storytelling is concerned, because it's going to tie into like multiple, like almost four different things they're working on. It's going to be combined into one big thing. So we'll have to just wait and see how they handle it.
I think that one's now been pushed to 2022.
Yeah, next year. Yeah.
Um,
that's the movie everybody is waiting for. Like so many people are waiting for this
big
movie.
gap between movies though. Like
Kind of, but Doctor Strange is going to be in the Spider-Man movie that comes out this Christmas. So we're going to see Doctor Strange a lot. Like, so it's not, and like that's going like, and I guarantee you that movie is going to tie into Doctor Strange and Multiverse. So we're going to see a lot of Doctor Strange between now.
Yeah, I mean he's been in a lot of the movies, but that's still that's definitely the biggest gap between any of the I don't know. I guess the movies where the character's name is in the title.
Typically, we get two to three Marvel movies a year. Typically, and so if we got Black Widow, we got Shang-Chi, and then we get Spider-Man this year. That's three, and then like it's a gap, but it's not that big. And don't forget, we still have the Disney Plus shows to kind of help fill that gap and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I'm just talking about between Doctor Strange movies. Like, I don't think any of the Iron Mans or the Captain Americas.
We've been along, but I kind of feel like if you want some Doctor Strange, then you have Infinity War, you have Endgame. So
Thor maybe close to as big of a gap between Ragnarok and Love and Thunder.
That's true.
Yeah,
but that's it. That's all I got.
All right.
But well, no, as far as Mordo,
yeah,
I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see.
Doesn't sound like he fits in with your idea for.
He doesn't. He doesn't fit at all. But they could. Maybe they'll change things. Maybe they'll fix things. I mean, they might have had one idea for him at first, but then with everything else that's happened, they don't know what to do. I'll do some more research to figure out to see.
I wonder if he fits in with the Eternals at all. You said Wong's going to be in that, didn't you?
No.
I think. Didn't you say Wong was going to be in the Eternals? No, Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Okay. Interesting. All right.
I don't know what they're going to do with the Eternals. Just wait and see. But that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, the listeners should tell their friends about this podcast.
Yes, I actually have a couple of different people who have talked about the podcast with me and say, "Hey, you got a podcast?" I was like, "Yeah, you should listen to it." It's like, okay. So,
oh, that's great.
Yeah, so hopefully we've got some more listeners, like 4 or 5. Hopefully. You won't tell me the numbers ever.
We've got more than that.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know how many people we get. You won't tell me. Right. You keep it very secret, which is I respect that.
We've got more than that.
Okay.
But tell your friends. That's the best way to get the word out. To have more people listening, more people to talk to about it. Give us a rating and a review wherever you can do that. Follow us everywhere. We're on any place you can go to find podcasts. We're also on YouTube. One thing I've started doing recently is pulling clips from some of our podcasts and putting those up on YouTube. So they're just kind of like bite-sized morsels about certain topics you can listen to on YouTube.
Yeah, I love those. Those are so good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Those are really great.
I think that's it. What are we talking about next time?
I guess Thor, right? Ragnarok?
I think so. I'm double checking.
He's the next one on the list.
Black Panther.
Oh yeah.
We got quite a few before we hit Ragnarok.
We got Black Panther, then what?
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and then Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh wow, we've got so many.
Yeah.
Who knew? When we first started this, I'm like, we don't have. It's going to be like 4 or 5 podcasts. There's so many. There's so many, and we haven't even got.
And they're like adding. Like I've got, we've got some of these being inserted in the middle of our list.
Yeah,
like
we got
Shang-Chi, we've got Eternals, we got Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like so many. Black Panther's up next. Okay, great, good.
Black Panther. Yeah,
one of my favorites.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good conversation.